Hi, my name is Caleb Allen and I am 14 years old. I was born in Kansas City, Missouri at St. Joe Hospital on October 18th, 2005 as a one and only child to my parents, Steve and Marina Allen. I grew up in Belton where I went to school and played sports until second grade when my parents started homeschooling me. This opened up a lot of times ago on more 6 years old. My dad began to teach me how to play guitar. He taught me by teaching me worship songs from our church. Our church was in Harrisonville, and we came here about 2 to 3 times a week. So in 2014, we moved from Belton to Harrisonville. We moved into our current house where I continued homeschooling until my mom got a full-time job, which made it extremely hard to get schoolwork done. My plan was to go to the public high school here in Harrisonville, but my parents thought it would be a good idea that the year before I go to the Christian school to prepare me for high school. This was the plan until recently when we bought a house in Alabama. I'm moving in June and I'm going to go to high school there now instead of here. The Christian school has definitely helped me a lot with the transitioning of schools, and I'll always remember the people here and how they've helped me.
Hi, I'm Aiden Christensen. I'm a student here at Harrisonville Christian School. But let's start from the beginning. I was born on March 28, 2006 at the Kansas City Research Medical Center. This is a picture of me when I was only a few days old. When I was about 2 years old, I got a dog named Roscoe, who is still alive and well today. This picture is my fourth birthday party at the community center, in which I had a 3-layer cake, making it one of the best birthdays I have ever had. Throughout my childhood years, I enjoyed playing soccer and video games. I often spent time with my family. When I was around 8, we went to 7 different states in a big circle. On this trip, I saw Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse, the Old Faithful Geyser, and went on my first train ride. A few years later, I graduated from school and got married at the First Christian Church near the square. At that wedding, I was the ring bearer and got to carry the ring down the aisle. 1 or 2 years later, I went snagging, fishing for spoonbills, and helped catch a 50-pound spoonbill with my grandma, who has helped me grow with understanding of practical things over the years. About 1 year ago, I went on a trip to New York and Washington, D.C. On this trip, I saw many different significant structures like the Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty, Times Square, the 9/11 Memorial, Central Park, and the White House. I'm now 14 and glad with where my life led. I would like to thank my family and everything they have done for me. I have enjoyed being at the Harrisonville Christian School and cherish the friends I have made there. I'm looking forward to the adventure of school.
Hi, I'm Ellie Herman. I was born on November 28th, 2005. I was born pretty early, being originally due around the end of December. I went to a different preschool that was called We Rock. Then in kindergarten was when I came to HCS, the year just after my brother graduated 8th grade. When I was in first grade, I learned about some of my heritage. That is when I would say I started liking that stuff. I also got braces, with later on getting them off. It's an interesting story, with me still having a retainer still to this day. Then in second grade, I got glasses. I didn't like them at first, but then I liked them. Skipping to sixth grade, I had Miss Potter, who helped me get out of my shell. I definitely became more talkative, but still being really shy. I'm much more talkative now, but still being shy at certain times. In seventh grade, I got more friends and became closer with some. I also liked a lot of darker clothing then, and my mom was not the happiest camper because of that. Over the summer, I ended up getting contacts, which I like a lot more. Then, in 8th grade, my final year at HCS, I changed a lot. I got a huge haircut over Christmas break. Before, my hair was all the way to my waist. Now it's a little past my shoulders, and so far, I'm loving it. I got better with my art, which is a big part of my life, because I want to work in that field of business. I got a lot of my interests this year. I've gone better with not just having dark colors in my clothes, with some cheerful colors added. I found people who I look up to. I got a lot closer with my brother, who I love so much. I got even more friends, with some of them becoming my closest friends ever. Now that I'm graduating from HCS, I am so happy to have been going here. I am also excited for what high school is going to bring.
The baby that you see here is yours truly, Slade Holden. I was born and raised in Harrisonville and still live here in the same house where my dad grew up to this day. I spent the majority of my early life doing what I guess most toddlers do, playing around and having everything taken care of for you. I went to Harrisonville Christian School for preschool, just like my 3 older siblings. My life stayed pretty normal for a long time and I was fine with that. Eventually, 2 of my best friends, Sam and Drew, moved into my neighborhood. We spent just about all of our free time for the next 2 years together. Sadly, they moved away when their house was finished, and although we still hang out often. It was when I was about 10, my family gained another new member. We adopted a little girl from China, Marin, and she became a big part of my life and still is today. The older I grew, the more I became interested in sports and hobbies. I've played baseball, soccer, football, and participated in track. Along with that, I also belonged to a swim team and earned a black belt in Hapkido. For the past 2 years, most of my time has spent hanging out with friends and recently a lot of skateboarding. I've gone to HCS all my life. It has greatly impacted my spiritual journey and has allowed me to meet some of my best friends. I'm not only going to miss the teachers, but also all of the amazing memories that were made.
Hi, my name is Emma McGowan. I was born in St. Luke's Hospital in Overland Park, Kansas. When I was born with a full head of hair. The nurses were so surprised by this, they paraded me around the hospital from room to room, showing people my full head of hair. At our old house in the country, we had this small hill surrounded by trees that we used to go sledding on whenever it snowed, even just a little bit. This hill went down to our lake, which we ended up naming Lake Molly after one of my dogs. I have worn glasses since I was about 18 months old, and in preschool, I was opening the door to go back to PE, and a girl accidentally ran into me, and her glasses bumped my glasses, and they ended up making a cut in the side of my face, which I ended up having to get a special Band-Aid that essentially acted like stitches. While we were looking for dogs in 4th grade, I found this one named Blue, and every time I would pass his cage, he would start running around in circles, but he wouldn't do that for anybody else, so I chose him. In the country, we had this one farmer as our neighbor, and he would plow all the snow. Then one year, he put all the snow up against our concrete pad that the cars went, and it created a big wall, and we used it as a snow fort, and we wanted to have a big snowball fight with my dad, so me and Asia made him a 1-foot-tall little snow fort. I got Jasmine when I was 4 years old, and I had her up until this past month when she passed away. She was a fat cat that was about 15 pounds, and whenever we got her shaved, you could see her rolls. But she loved sleeping on my bed, and she absolutely loved Temptation Street. Whenever I would shake the bag, even if she was a story above me, she would run down the stairs. I cut my hair in 5th grade above my shoulders, and it only looked good whenever I straightened it because my hair is so thick. It just poofed up when I didn't straighten it. Whenever I didn't straighten my hair, it would look like Dora's hair. I had glasses since I was 18 months old because I had a lazy eye, and if I wore a patch, I wouldn't have needed to get inner eye muscle surgery. But as a kid, I absolutely hated it so much I would just refuse to wear it, and I would always just take it off right after my parents made me put it on. And it ended up to the point where I needed to go get surgery when I was around 11. These memories will stick through me through life, and especially memories from the Christian school will always keep me going and bring me back to Christ.
Hi, I'm Elijah Weir, and on December 14th, 2005, I was born in Blue Springs at St. Mary's Hospital. At the time, we lived in Kingsville, Missouri. My parents had been married for 5 years before they had me, so I was quite a surprise to my whole family. From the time I was 3 months old, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents while my parents worked. I feel really blessed to have such a great relationship and to have spent so much time with my grandparents. I was an only child until I was 3, so I was pretty spoiled. Then my brother Jackson was born. While we irritate each other a lot, he is my lifelong buddy. My parents described me as smart, wild, and extremely stubborn toddler. I was always up to something or getting into something. My mom says I spent most of my time from the ages 2 until 5 in timeout. With God's help, my dad was able to break that strong will. Their words, not mine. They are praying that it doesn't return in my teen years. As a child, I spent a lot of time with my cousins and playing sports. I feel fortunate to have gotten to go to a school like HCS, and I'm thankful for everything everyone has sacrificed to prepare me for high school. I'm looking forward to these next 4 years, and I'm hopeful that with God's help, I will succeed.
It's so wonderful to be with you tonight. We wish that we could see you personally, face to face, but we're so happy that we can be in your homes tonight sharing graduation with you. And right now, some of our graduates are going to share memories and some thank yous that they have written themselves.
If you have to put someone on a pedestal, put teachers. They are society's heroes. Guy Kowalski. Thank you to all the teachers who had to put up with my class. I know that we've been very wild and have a tendency to procrastinate. Also, for praying for whatever problems we have, big or small. Some teachers that have made a big difference in our class include, but are not limited to, Mrs. Logan, Mrs. Schrock, Mrs. Potter, Mrs. Simpson, and Mr. Sinkin. Please remember that you will all remain in our hearts and minds forever. Since I've been at HCS, since preschool, my mom has had to sacrifice a lot for me. I would like to thank her for everything she's done for me over the years, from being late to work just to take me to school or helping me with projects. I want to thank you for that. Lunch has been some of the most fun times at HCS, and every time someone has a birthday at HCS, everyone has to sing happy birthday to them at lunch. So in 6th grade, on my birthday, I really had to go to the bathroom. So I got up and went to the bathroom. However, as I was putting soap on my hands, I heard a bunch of people start singing. I was really confused for a second until I realized they were singing happy birthday to someone who isn't in the room. They were singing happy birthday to me. I quickly washed my hands and ran to the lunchroom, but it was too late. They were singing the last word. I had missed my own birthday song because I had gone to the bathroom. The worst part is that the exact same thing happened the next year in 7th grade.
We've had a lot of teachers over the years, but the teacher I want to thank especially today is Mrs. Logan. I've bonded with her a lot over the time I've been in her class. She's helped me through many things and understands me. I wish more teachers could be like her. She really cares about each and every student she has. I especially want to thank my parents for letting me have the privilege to go to a private school. They taught me so much and have gotten me through so much. They do so much for me, and I'm just so grateful to have them. Memories I've made over the time at HCS have been special to me. But one thing that really sticks out is one time during the 8th grade lunches, Mrs. Logan brought a game called Hot Potato. And we played it, and as we played it, whenever I would get the hot potato, I would basically throw it at Miss Logan. And we all laughed the entire time about it. And every time the hot potato game is mentioned, we always mention how I threw it at Mrs. Logan.
It's obvious that none of us would be here today if it weren't for the amazing teachers that have brought us up throughout our years at HCS. Since I had Miss Emily in preschool to Miss Schrock and Miss Logan this year, it has been a blessing to connect and be guided closer to Christ. So I would just like to say thank you immensely for your time and dedication to our lives. I don't doubt that there were times when it seemed like too great a task or there was no hope for us, but thank you for sticking with us and tolerating our antics. Thank you all so much for everything you've done for us, and we will miss you so much. I thank my parents for not only spending the money to send me here to this amazing positive environment, but I thank them for supporting me and being the ones who would take me to school every day and making sure I took the time to do well in all my classes. Thank you so much, Mom and Dad. My favorite memories take place in the lab during our morning math class. On multiple occasions, if someone would have walked in, they would have seen me, Caleb, Aiden, and Eli jumping and sliding across the room, demonstrating how good we were at parkour for Miss Schrock. If not, they could have heard many of our conversations of any number of weird topics that didn't make sense during an 8th grade math class.
First, I'm going to thank my teachers. So, thank you to all my teachers I've had here at HCS. All of you have been such a blessing to me during my time here. You all have been so nice, caring, and helpful to me, and I thank you for that. I would say that the teachers that have impacted my life in the biggest ways are Miss Rock, Miss Logan, Miss Simpson, and Miss Gregg. Thank you guys for being in my life. I am very thankful for you. Second, I'm going to thank my parents. Thank you so much to my parents. You guys have been so good in putting my brother and I in a Christian environment. You sent both of your kids here for 19 years. I am so grateful that you sent me here. Thank you again for paying the tuition to send me here. Love you guys. Now I'm going to say a favorite memory a memory I like from my time here. This year, the 8th graders got to have a special lunch that we had every Friday. One day, the game that Miss Logan had us play had something to do with Nerf guns. It came to my turn and I got one of the Nerf guns, but this one was defected. It wouldn't shoot when you pulled the trigger. It would shoot randomly, not knowing when it would. After we played the game, everybody was at the front of the room but me. I decided to try to figure out how and when the Nerf gun would shoot. While I got frustrated and shot upwards, and it ended up shooting. I didn't notice Slade was in front where he would be hit. It ended up hitting Slade in the back. When it did, he blamed Eli, who was right next to him, but Eli said it was me. I said sorry to Slade, trying to hold back a laugh of just what happened. I might not always remember this, but I would say that it was a good memory to have.
If you have to put someone on a pedestal, put teachers. There's Ephesians 6:13 NIV version. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand.
Hello there, HCS graduates, family, and friends. My name is Brian. I'm the pastor here at Harrisonville Community Church and have been the chaplain at Harrisonville Christian School for the past couple of years. This year, I've had the awesome privilege of teaching the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in Bible class. And this year, we have gone through the book of John. That has been our central focus. From there, we've expanded into other parts of the Bible, but each time we come back to John. And in John chapter 20, John is one of the awesome writers of the Gospels who gives us his exact purpose in writing. In John 20, starting in verse 30, he says, Jesus performed many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book. But here is verse 31. But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. This is the central purpose of why your parents probably sent you to the Harrisonville Christian School. This is why the Harrisonville Christian School was founded. This is why it continued for 50 plus years, that you may believe. Everything that the Christian school has done for each one of you students, many of you from pre-K through 8th grade, some of you just this year, everything that Harrisonville Christian School has done is for you to say, I believe that Jesus is the Son of God, that he is the Messiah, that he is the sent one. That is why we are here, and that is what we ask of you as you move forward from here. My only statement tonight is to give you a charge, to give you a purpose, to give you something to do as you leave these hallowed halls of Harrisonville Christian School, and you go to whatever school is next for you, whatever is next in your journey, is that this sentence may be written of you as well. But your life happened. Each one of you 8th graders that is graduating, may it be said of you, but your life happened so that others may believe that Jesus is the Son of God. Many of you have been raised in Christian homes, and if you've been at the Christian school, it has been pounded into your brain kind of whether you liked it or not. And now we are sending you out. We're sending you out into the world with a purpose. And that purpose is exactly the same purpose for which John wrote his gospel, so that through you and through your lives, others may believe. Remember what you've learned so that forever and ever and always you may believe. That you never fade in your faith, you never wane in your faith, but even one step more than that. So that eternity's shores, standing around you, will be those who thank you that you introduce them to the Son of God, Jesus Christ. Congratulations, 8th graders. We are so proud of you. We know that you are going to go on to change the world, shape the world, because you are amazing, amazing people. I love you guys. Happy graduation.
Hello again. I'm sorry if you weren't able to hear my introduction, but my name is Chad Culpepper. I serve here as principal, and it really is my pleasure to be with you guys this evening. It is now a joy for me to celebrate our students by presenting academic awards. So first up, we have our honor roll students. These students earned all A's and B's in their core classes with no U's or unsatisfactory in specials courses. So Allie Heerman and Emma McGowan. Great job, ladies. Now for principal's honor roll, these students earned all A's in their core classes with no U's and specials. We have Slade Holden and Aiden Christensen. Great job, guys. And now it's a pleasure for me to present the President's Award for Educational Excellence. The President's Education Awards program was founded in 1983, and this program recognizes graduating students who meet a high standard of academic excellence, giving their best effort and often overcoming obstacles to their learning. Here at HCS, this award is given to students who made the honor roll, but also whose score for reading, language, and/or math on the 2019 Terra Nova assessment was in the 8th, stay 9, or higher. And these students earning the President's Award for Educational Excellence are Aiden Christensen, Allie Heerman, and Slade Holden. And now I'm going to pass it off to Mrs. Schrock, and she's going to present our Leadership and Character Awards.
Good evening, everyone. I am honored to be here to celebrate our graduates and to present to you our Leadership Awards. These awards are ones that are chosen based on characteristics that the students have displayed. Mrs. Logan and I have been very blessed to have had these students for the past 3 years. So we really felt like we had a good knowledge of the students and these traits that they just show every day in their classwork. So we're going to start with our Competence Award, and that is awarded to Slade Holden. So the Competence Award is defined as one presented to a student who demonstrates excellence in a skill or concept, and this very much applies to Slade. Not only does he just blow us out of the water with his academics on a regular basis, but he also took on the challenge and very successfully completed 2 separate math classes this year at the same time. He took algebra with the rest of the 8th graders and then also did a home study program of geometry as well and got 2 different high school math credits out of the way in 1 year as an 8th grader. And that is just a phenomenal accomplishment. And on top of that, he continued just to wow us in his academics and every other class. So great job, Slade. We are so proud of you and the work that you've put in for this year. Our second award is for courage, and this goes to Caleb Allen. As you heard in the introduction and the slideshow that played, Caleb was new to our school this year. He had previously been homeschooled, and Caleb jumped in like he had never missed a day here at HCS. He was an active participant in class and in activities. He even led, by playing guitar, he led worship when we had See You at the Pole for our entire school, and just had no reservations about that. He was excited to be a part of our learning every day, and just showed quite a bit of courage to not only jump into a new school, but also jump into a new school as an 8th grader with people that you may have never met before. And from the first day he was here, I don't know that anyone would have noticed he hadn't been here since he was in kindergarten. Caleb, we're so happy that we got to spend this year with you. Congratulations on graduating from 8th grade, and great job this year. Our third award is for coachability, and that is presented to Allie Heerman. Allie has just completely transformed for us in especially the last 3 years that Mrs. Logan and I have been able to work with her. When we first met her as a 6th grader, she was very quiet, very shy, and very much kind of in a shell, and has just absolutely blossomed over the past couple years, especially this year. Allie really just takes any kind of constructive criticism very well. She is always happy and eager to revise anything that she could do better, and always does it with a smile on her face. And that is a huge thing, especially as an 8th grader, to be able to have such a positive attitude about that. So Allie, we're so blessed to have you over the past 3 years, and so excited to see where you go from here. Congratulations. And our final award is for character, and this is presented to Aiden Christensen. Character really kind of envelops so many different traits, and all of those are displayed so well by Aiden. Whether we were in school face-to-face or even throughout this 4th quarter that has been learning in a very different way, Aiden is just killed it every time. He is one of the first ones done with every assignment, even over virtual learning. There were often times he was sending me emails or turning things in on the weekends, and just always getting things done as soon as they were assigned. Aiden is always one who is reliable and trustworthy on things. I know that he will always tell me the truth, even if it means that he has to admit that he messed up a little bit. But he is always willing to help, and overall just a wonderful young man. Aiden, we are so blessed to have had you, and we look forward to the wonderful things that you are going to do and accomplish in the future. I'm now going to pass this to Mrs. Logan, who's going to come up and just share some thoughts and reflections about the previous years.
Thank you, Mrs. Schrock. As Mrs. Schrock mentioned, she and I have had this particular class for 3 years, which is really unusual, but it has been so special for us. We've watched you grow and change and learn, and we feel so close to you, so connected with you. It's very difficult for us to let you go. It's very difficult for us to see this day today. It's both wonderful and sad for us at the same time. You know, Mrs. Schrock and I often met together and just strategized how we were going to use our time with you. And every time we got together, we made the comment to each other of how wonderful you were, of how easy you were to teach. We were just so spoiled to have you as a class, and we talked about it all the time. And I got to thinking about this, and I thought, you know, as I reflect on who this class is, God brought to mind a verse in Galatians 5, verse 22, and it speaks of the fruit of the Spirit. And I'm going to list the qualities that God lists as part of what indicates that we have the Spirit within us. And they are things like love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, self-control, endurance. When I read those characteristics, I thought that really describes this class. I know Mrs. Schrock would agree that you all have such strength in these qualities, and it made teaching you an incredible delight. And we're so grateful to have been a part of the picture of your story. I want to reflect on a couple of moments that were really special. One thing that we did together as a class is we went to put Bibles together. And you all did such an incredible job. You were respectful. You were diligent. You were after it with enthusiasm. And everyone that you touched that day mentioned to me how impressed they were with you. And I thought, what a wonderful testimony it was of the Spirit within you. But beyond that, to think that we were a part of sharing God's word with those that needed it. It was an act that really carried on in a very big way. Another thing that we did together, another event that really had eternal significance, is raising money for the Voice of the Martyrs. I had a very simple goal of $300, and I thought that was a reasonable goal. But you took that goal and you just smashed it out of the park. We collected $900, and it was because of all of the great ideas that you had, the bake sale, selling pencils, just the many things that you did to make this a great success. And again, it was a ministry to others. So your enthusiasm and your diligence and your efforts just had such a far-reaching effect, and I will always be blessed by the memory of that. The last thing I want to share is something that you've been seeing for 3 years, and that is a sign in my room that tells you that there's only one rule that you have in my class, and that is, of course, to keep me happy. And I want you to know that just because you're graduating tonight doesn't mean that you're off the hook. I expect you to keep on making me happy, like for the rest of your days. And I hope that you know that that entails completely depending and submitting yourselves to God. That every day, in every way, you are living for Him. As I know that if you do that, you will have peace, and you will have hope, and you will have a wonderful future. And so you have to keep making me happy, and you have to remember that believing what God says is true and doing what He wants you to do are the most important things in life. We are going to miss you more than we can say, and we love you more than we can possibly express. And with that note, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Culpepper, who will be announcing this year's graduates. Mr. Culpepper?
And it is my pleasure to present very shortly here the 2020 8th grade graduating class of the Harrisonville Christian School. I did have the awesome opportunity to actually go around the community today and actually present students with their diplomas. And so I hope that you'll enjoy the photos from today. First off, we have Caleb Allen. Next up, Aiden Christensen. Allie Heerman. Slade Holden. Emma McGowan. And Eli Weir. And thanks, 8th graders, for playing along as we gave each other air fives today. So I enjoyed getting to do that. And now, if you'll join me, I'm going to bow my head in prayer as we pray a blessing over these students. Lord, Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for the opportunity to have gotten to know these students here at the Harrisonville Christian School. God, I thank you for the sacrifice and the investment that they and their families have made to come to the Harrisonville Christian School. God, and I just thank you for the teachers and the staff that over the years have just poured their hearts into these students in service. God, and I just pray that the seeds that have been planted in their hearts, Lord, of you, God, that they take root in their lives, God, and they just continue to bear much fruit. God, I just pray that these 8th grade graduates would be world changers, culture shapers for you. Lord, and I just once again thank you so much for the awesome pleasure of having them in our school. God, I just pray that you would continue to go before them, give them courage to stand firm on your truth in the many days ahead. God, we love you and we praise you, and we ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. And before we close, I did want to note that this program is being recorded, and you can go back to our school's Facebook page to access that at any time. Expect a miracle, and have a great evening. Thanks for joining us.